useful features, including free tips, weightings and early speed. There's the latest odds from all Australian TABs, plus loads more. Log on to www.skychannel.com.au and check it out now.
This program brought to you by City Pacific Finance 136255 and Coolmore Staff.
Outside, Skipper is flying. Takes the lead from Dan Carrington and Tara King next.
It'll be inside, middle through, right at the 10. Here she goes.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Retro. Graham McNeese not with us this morning, so I'll be sitting in the chair with you. I'm Richard Freedman, and joining us this morning we'll have the CEO of the Victoria Racing Club, Dale Monteith, to talk about the return to Flemington. A fabulous return to Flemington yesterday. We also had the return to racing in Queensland and racing in New South Wales, all under protocols of the EI virus, and there'll be a major announcement on the EI virus towards the end of the program with Andrew Bensley, a federal government announcement we believe, so stay tuned for that one. But to analyse the races from yesterday and give us a rundown on what happened, we've got our panel and a few special guests, and joining us now, Ron Dufficy. Good morning, Ron. What was it like at Warwick Farm?
Look, I wasn't there because it was a complete shutout, but you have to give congratulations to Racing New South Wales and the AJC for getting that meeting away on a very heavy track. They got through it okay, and let's hope we can get another meeting going next week.
Michael Fraser joins us. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, as Ronnie said, we did eventually get some racing up and running here in Sydney at Warwick Farm. 10 races, restricted to Warwick Farm horses only, but they got through the meeting in fine style. The light really did shine on the Flemington program, though, with the reopening of the $30 million spend there, and it went off without a hitch.
One of our very best jockeys, he's a special guest in the studio this morning, went to Melbourne yesterday and rode the big winner, Marasco. Of course, Darren Beadman joins us now. Good morning, Darren. Thanks for coming in.
Good, mate, good.
Big day, eh?
Yeah, it was. It's a real showpiece down there at Flemington. It was shining like a new penny as soon as you walked on the course. You can just imagine what it's going to be like, you know, come Cup Carnival time over that week. It's just going to be magnificent.
Okay, more on that later as we get into the races down there. But down there in Melbourne, our regular Alf Matthews is joining us, and he's joined us with Dale Monteith, who is the CEO of the Victoria Racing Club, and they have to be congratulated on preparing a magnificent course, although the racetrack copped a bit of a hammering from the punters, Alf.
It did initially, Richard, and I think sometimes people tend to jump to conclusions, but look, I think tempo had a little bit to do with it as well. But I tell you what, you know, laying a brand new track from start to finish and racing on it in the time period that they've had, I think they must be congratulated. And Dale, were you happy with the outcome?
Certainly, Alpha. I'm not going to apologise to the track one iota. I think what we expected, actually, it's better than what we expected. We walked the track this morning with Terry Watson.
I did too.
And you did as well. But look, we expected the track to sort of obviously have a bit more give in it than would otherwise be expected with an established track. It will improve significantly over the next 12 months. Once we get a summer into it and the kikuyu grass takes hold in the surface, I think you'll see Flemington perform at its absolute best. But certainly yesterday it performed above our expectations.
Yeah.
If you want to send us some email, the way to do it is through the website. Here's the way to do it. You go to feedback, the feedback icon, www.skychannel.com.au. The fax is on 0294522222. And if you want to send some mail, send it to the producer at Racing Retro at the address on your screen. Well, the feature race at Flemington yesterday was the Mackay Diva Stakes, named after the great mare. It's over 1,600 metres. The favourite was Apache Cat. He's outside the leader.
On the outside of Torquay, followed by Gallic and Blue Monday last of all. They come up towards the 850 metre mark, and the leader just inside that here. Down on the inside is Maldivian, a length and a half. Apache Cat. The big cat is purring, running second. 2 lengths, Anakoff being niggled at. 2 then Marasco gives Apache Cat about 3 lengths up when they come around the turn. Homeward bound to the 450 metre mark, Maldivian. A length and a half, Apache Cat, who hasn't been called for yet. 2 lengths then to Marasco going up on the outside. Then Anna Coffin further back, and the race came zipping. Apache Cat going after Maldivian, 300 to go, and Marasco on the outside. Then further back zipping. Apache Cat at the front. Here comes Marasco. Apache Cat and Marasco, they come away to fight it out, and Marasco's got his head in front. The Western Australian Marasco takes the lead from Apache Cat, and Marasco breaks the hoodoo, and Melbourne wins a half length. Apache Cat.
Yes, Marasco with Darren Beadman in the saddle for Fred Kersley there in the $500,000 Mackay Diva Stakes. Used to be the Craigley Stakes. Darren, he took to getting to Apache Cat, but when you got to him, your horse really finished off the job.
Oh, it's just a matter of time. Rich was not getting there too early, not getting there too late. The horse, you know, he's had probably, you know, getting away from Caulfield. I think most of his seconds have been at Caulfield, but yesterday, the beauty of this horse yesterday, he was able to just race on his own, enjoy the race, go when I wanted to go. He wasn't forced into a position where something was trying to dictate to him and force him to make a run when he wasn't ready, but he could just make the run when he wanted to, and he's a real winner.
Alfie, it was a great effort from the winner. There are a couple of decent efforts behind him. Zipping was one of them, but there are a few disappointments too.
Oh, there's no question about that. Look, the tempo of this particular race was very, very solid, and I suppose it begs the query about Maldivian, whether it can actually run a trip for a Caulfield Cup. But look, he's running along, and I reckon he's doing it a little bit too tough in himself. But Apache Cat, again, probably gets to a stage where it becomes a little vulnerable over the 1600 metres. Although he runs it, he's been beaten by, let's face it, one of the best in Australia at the moment in Marasco, and it's good to see him, you know, really produce his best around Flemington. Zipping Richard, as you've said, was absolutely awesome in the concluding stages. And I suppose one question for Darren, you know, did the inside at this time of the day start to just cut out a little bit, Darren?
Not really. I thought the track raced pretty uniform all day. It was, as I was saying to the boys in the studio, like a lot of horses you can feel them changing stride and getting a little bit unbalanced and a little bit unsure of themselves, but yesterday it was hardly noticeable, even a horse changing stride, so that's how well you know, perfected the track is.
Darren, did he feel really comfortable through the run, or were you sort of getting a little bit urgent at any particular stage, perhaps prior to what you wanted to do?
No, from about the 1200 metre mark, 1100 metre mark, the speed they were going, and me racing solo, I always had Apache Cat covered from about the 1200. I was really confident. The way he was just really relaxed, and he's like, he never even hit the bridle. He was just off the bit, lobbing along, and he hasn't probably got a real sort of stylistic type of action. He's a little bit sort of, goes a little bit like a billy cart, but as that's what Paul Dyson was saying. He goes a bit like a billy cart, but he's got a Ferrari engine, and he showed that yesterday.
It was a good, very much a good performance by the winner. I'm not bagging, but I don't think you can underestimate Apache Cat's effort, because like last start at Caulfield when he won, he sat like 3 lengths off. He sat right up in the firing line for the whole race there today, and they did go along. And you know, he, as Darren said, he always had him covered, but you know, he didn't get right away from him. I thought his effort was very good, Apache Cat.
Yeah, it was good, because he did all the donkey work.
Yeah,
he did chase so. Maldivian, and Maldivian sort of, the second half of the race, he made it a race, didn't he?
And you saw the juncture, the last, he got beat 4 lengths or something, Maldivian. So
what did you make of Torquay?
Disgraceful.
Disgraceful.
It was awful. But, you know, he's a stayer and first up. Maybe he just lacked a bit of match practice there. But, look, the horses out the back did absolutely nothing except for zipping. So, what I want to know is what's happening next week, Darren. Harada-san and Will Marasco back up. What have you done there?
Fred yesterday was a little bit unsure about what he was going to do. Never confirmed anything, but I'd already taken the ride on Harada's son, so I'll ride him next Saturday.
All right, that was the feature race of the day. One of the other features was the Danehill Stakes, a 1200 metre Group 3 race, and the favourite was Scenic Blast and Royal Asher.
Further back then came Scenic Blast. Out wider MJ Hussey, Forensics, and down the outside, press the button. 400 to go, Tantat Delago goes up to Zazoo. Then on the outside, Royal Asher given full bore with Scenic Blast. Then Perelis followed by MJ Hussey. Royal Asher coming at Scenic Blast and Tantat Delago. Tantat Delago, Scenic Blast. Then Royal Asher now struggling. Tantat Delago kicks in. It's a length in front, getting close to the line from Scenic Blast. And Tantat Delago, big win. Tantat Delago, 2 lengths Scenic Blast.
Yeah, Tantat Delago at $31, a despised outsider there for Peter Moody, and Luke Nolan led all the way on the fence there from Scenic Blast, who did a good job, and Perelis, good effort to run third, Alfie.
Yeah, well, Perelis is obviously going to go on to, you know, a derby or something like that, and he is promising, there's no question about that. But, you know, one thing about this race, run it anywhere else except on the straight, and I'll tell you what, you'd get different winners. Darren, I'm going to be honest with you, I've got to be very, very critical. You held this horse up far, far too much, in my view. That is Royal Asher. It can pull. We saw it pull and go forward at Caulfield, and its head was going all over the place. I thought Chinchilla Rose also was unlucky, getting held up back on the fence. Got out, got home late. Look, good performances, and I'll tell you what, take nothing away from Peter Moody either, because Tantat Delago, he's given it the opportunity of a little bit of a break, and it come back well, but it was allowed to run up near the speed, and that was the winning move.
Darren, he's given you an absolute break there.
And he didn't give you a chance to respond, he just went on to the left.
What do you say about that?
Oh, he's on it. He's got a little bit of something running down his chin there.
Now, come on, did you hold it up to get your what?
Give your chin a wipe.
Not responding?
No, come on. Honestly, I was critical of your ride on it. You agree or not? Did you hold it up too much?
Of course he doesn't agree.
Well, to me, it wasn't over. That's its style of racing, where it gets its head down, and it looks like it's going a lot harder than what's actually going. She was travelling probably a little bit too keen, not too much, but like the winner got away from her, put 4 lengths on her, and then she had back markers like Chinchilla Rose and Purelis making ground on her at the finish.
Does she feel like she ran a mile or not?
No.
No, it's a definite sprinter.
I think she's just got to have a hot speed and just sit off him.
Exactly.
Okay. There you go. What did you make of it, Ronnie?
I don't think it was a contest. It was just a trot and canter up front and a sprint home. Full marks with the winner. Look, she's put 5 straight wins together. Now everyone's saying it's winter form, but how strong is the form of the autumn? That's not very strong. I thought Chinchilla Rose was sensational there. She got held up behind Zazoo. When they were sprinting home that last 300, she got shuffled back to second last, and to finish off and run 4th, that's the run of the race. That's the run of the race.
I wanted to ask Dale, Monteith, the decision to move the gates across from the outside to the inside in the straight races, that was made very late. That was made after some people had already had their bets, Dale.
Yes, Richard, it was. I received a phone call from Des with all the biosecurity measures down here. I couldn't really get to him, but a couple of jockeys had inspected the track after Des had actually done his inspection, and they found a couple of patches of rolls of turf that had been laid about 5 weeks ago. We had a problem with one of the pop-up sprinklers, and basically that grass was a lot drier and browner than the rest of the track. It didn't look as lush, but it wasn't that much softer at all. It was really just that it really stood out from the rest of the turf, and I think just for safety reasons, Des was concerned, as were the jockeys, that some of the horses perhaps back in the field might overreact to those patches, and so the safest measure was to move the rail back, the barriers back into the true position.
Well, it's a dramatic move from outside to inside. Was there any thought perhaps put them in the middle?
Well, no, I asked that Des specifically, and he said no, he'd prefer them to go back on the inside.
Because it changed the entire context of the event, because you had horses like Gamble Me, and I'm sure Darren would agree, like it just got held up, and it was going to get the right sort of run from the outside.
Yeah, well, Des' explanation was that he just wanted the horses to avoid those two rolls of turf, basically, just to play it safe, and of course we have a very wide track here, so we're able to do that.
That's my point. Would they have avoided it by putting the gates in the middle of the track?
Well, he was concerned they wouldn't have avoided if some of the jockeys had have gone to the outside rail. Fair enough.
All right, the other 1,200 metre race of note was the Bobby Lewis, and this was for the older horses, and the favourite, Bonhoeffer. Watch him in the lime green colours.
A length and a half, Benedictum. Shadowways getting up on the fence and any suggestion. Storm Signal getting out from Let Go Tomo. Then came Bonhoeffer. Further back than Whiskey and Rye. Divine Madonna winding up down the outside from Swick. Trick and then Raymond Squire. Here comes Divine Madonna across the track. Bonhoeffer got to Let Go Tomo. Divine Madonna on the outside going after them. Bonhoeffer from Storm Signal. Swick getting out, then Divine Madonna and Flash Trick with a late run. Bonhoeffer in front with 100 to go from Swick and Flash Trick, and it's Bonhoeffer. Bonhoeffer is going to get the prize. Bonhoeffer scores a length and 3/4.
Geez, an improved horse Bonhoeffer there for Wendy Kelly. Vlad Jurek riding in great form too, and he started the favourite there. Swick, a very good run. Flash Trick, pretty good as well. What did you think of that, Alfie?
Bonhoeffer returned brilliantly at Caulfield the other day. No question has gone on from that performance. Beautiful ride by Vlad Jurek, there's no question about that. And this horse will go on. You know he can get 1,400. They tested him last preparation to get out even further, but I think they know his mark now. Swick, very, very good from an inside gate. I thought it finished its race off pretty well, and I'm sure it doesn't like being where it was. Divine Madonna also good enough.
Storm Signal getting out from Let Go Tomo.
I don't know whether he's an improved horse. He's always had a heap of potential, this horse, and he has won up to 1,700, but they stretched him out to 2,000 last prep, and it didn't work. I think Wendy Kelly's got the key to him now. Train him like a sprinter, treat him like a sprinter, and he's up there with... I think he's a Group 1 horse. I really do.
What about Roman Squire's run? It was very good.
He got lost, didn't he, when they sprinted? And
he's a Queenslander, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just
won the Tats
running
Cup.
in the 5th spot there.
He won the Tats Cup up there over Winter Carnival, and we've sort of made him a horse to follow. He, as Ronnie said there, he was on the outside, and when they put the pressure on, he just got lost. He was all over the place, but he knuckled down quite well over the last 150 metres.
Divine Madonna looked like she'd win, but she just sort of hit the wall the last 100 metres.
Well, it's funny, like everyone was raving about her being a great chance, and when, you know, not that it's the be-all end-all, but when I went through her form last night, her second up form and third up form was much, much better. She's a little bit vulnerable early, and I think that was shown up there. Like she'd had enough with 120 to go. She was
First
basically
up 58.
Exactly. That's why I think she's better second and third up. So I wouldn't be disappointed in her effort.
Race 5 was the Let's Elope for the mares. A Group 3 over 1,400 metres. Just Mamont, favourite.
Causeway Lass behind those. Out further Promiscuous and the pink cap from Empire Dancer. Further back then Bellini Rose down the centre. Devil Moon at the 300 metre mark. Length and a length in front of Jacqueline Rouge. Just Mamont under pressure. Right down the outside. Here's Eskimo Queen for the back of the field with Bellini Rose. But Devil Moon's 3 lengths in front at the 100 metre mark. Eskimo Queen, Bellini Rose and Jacqueline Rouge trying hard, but Devil Moon. Big win. Devil Moon by 2 lengths. Eskimo Queen second. Bellini Rose third from Jacqueline Rouge.
Devil Moon got away in front and they just couldn't run it down for Mark Cavanaugh, who's having a good run. Michael Rod the jock there. Eskimo Queen and Bellini Rose filling the placings there. It would have been a pretty good trifecta there. But she just had a soft run in front, Alf.
Well, the simple fact, she went from the extreme outside. She did a little bit of work getting there, but I tell you what, once she did get there, she switched off and settled absolutely beautifully. She's got the pedigree to get further, so I tell you what, no one knows where this is going to finish up. Most impressed with it. Eskimo Queen, well, I don't have to say any more about it because it got back and ran on brilliantly. We know it's a Group 1 horse. Bellini Rose, very, very good. Canal, and, you know, horses like Red Faloo, I wouldn't be dropping off them.
It's quite an amazing race, this. The first 5 across the line drew the 5 outside barriers, which is quite incredible. You know, 3 of them went back, 2 of them went forward. The winner crossed and led. I thought Bellini Rose's run was good. Miss Lartar, she's been going around at big odds in recent races. She got cluttered up back in there behind him, but she hit the line quite nicely late, and she was coming off a reasonably good winner at Caulfield last up. I think there's a bit of form out of that race.
Flemington 1400's always been a leader's paradise, and Eskimo Queen to make up ground like that was probably the run of the day. Could easily develop into a Caulfield Cup mare.
Well, she was, when she won the Oaks, and she was, I think she started near favourite in the Derby up there, and she was probably going to put herself into the race to win because she was bolting, and she clipped something's heels and tipped the jock off.
Yeah, she's a good mare.
Yeah.
The Sofitel Stakes was a listed race over 1,400 metres. Daneva the favourite, back near the tail of the field.
King of Ashford and Dan Ever last of all at the 400 metre mark, and it's Live in Vain a length and a half in front. Orange County going up to him on the outside. Further out, Flash Coupe. Then Bird Dancer, Mr. Baritone. Live in Vain is grabbed by Orange County. At the 200 he took the lead. Bird Dancer got up inside him. Flash Coupe further out. Orange County from Bird Dancer back to the inside, then Flash Coupe. It's Orange County ahead in front. Bird Dancer coming at him. It's Orange County just in front. Bird Dancer dived at him and made it very close. Bird Dancer, Orange County.
King of Ashford actually started favourite there, so not Dan Evers. Sorry about that. Orange County there. Ridden against instructions by Mark Zara. He was told to get back. He sat up on the lead there. Bird Dancer and Flash Coupe, who put in another good run. Alfie.
I think we all have different views on different things at different times, and personally I thought Mark Zara going forward and just making a race of it was probably the winning move. It may have set it up for a horse like Bird Dancer to get home back on the inside, but I thought it was a very clever ride by Mark Zara. I gave him 10 out of 10. Flash Coupe was very good also because it was the first one to actually come out and start to put a bit of pressure on and just covering that little bit of ground and weakened in the concluding stages. But it'll win a nice race in a better run race.
Oh, Mark Zara, I thought I was back in Queensland watching Mick Dipman when he came out of the boxes. That was a typical Mick Dipman ride. He came forward, forced the issue, got across, and even though he might have ridden against instructions, it was the perfect ride from that outside barrier. Bird Dancer hit the line strongly, never left the fence, but I was just wrapped in the ride.
Yeah, he probably had a fitness edge there.
Yeah.
He may have hit the front a little soon, but he won. He got the result.
1100 metre fillies race was the first race of the day. Gamble Me started favourite. That's her in the red colours back along the fence there. Gets a bit tight.
Back near the tail of the field now on the outside would have been Smile of Desire, and down with about 400 metres to go, Devil May Care. Listen here over on the inside, out wide of Faz Line, Rose Ceremony coming at them. Beauty School struggling further back than Queen Falvalon. Gamble Me not in the race. Smile of Desire down the outside. Faz Line's gone up to Listen Here. Rose Ceremony coming at them with 100 to go. Rose Ceremony going up to Faz Line, Listen Here. Then further back, Gibraltar Campy and Rose Ceremony in front. Rose Ceremony wins the first. 3/4 to either Gibraltar.
Rose Ceremony. She might be the only one, Ronnie, to come out of the Golden Slipper and actually do something since they ran it. Gibraltar Campion was a good run, got held up a bit and ran home well, and Listen Here filled the placings. But Alfie, how do you rate this race?
Yeah, look, the winner is good, but this is where it took advantage of the barrier because, again, the outside barriers here ended up first, second and third, basically. It's kept for, Gibraltar Campion. Look, Rose of Ceremony, its last start performance, it had done enough in a very, very strong race and is the horse that you know is going to improve. I was perhaps thinking that 1200 would be just a tad better for it, but it's on track, no question about that. The rest of the race, I'm leaving them alone. I think they're a bit average, actually.
Yeah, she is the first horse to come out of the slipper and win. I think Chinchilla Rose will be winning shortly, but I don't know what to do. Look, the Freedman's got 2 speed horses there. You know, you've got to put horses on the speed to win these days.
That's the jockey. He rode the favourite, Gamble Me.
Under instructions, take a sit.
Take a sit.
How'd you mark that right, Alf?
Oh, no. Darren, he's not talking there. He's got needed. Darren, I actually tipped it on top, but I was most disappointed when the barriers went to the inside because I thought you could have a little bit of trouble, but if they were to the outside, you would have had the perfect type of run and it would have suited you perfectly.
Perfect, ground in the middle of the track.
I adore you as a jockey, you know that, but you don't do everything right all the time. Hey, come on now.
You don't have to justify your comments, mate.
Did she find a little bit of trouble?
She did a little bit, but she needs winkers and or blinkers and needs 7 furlongs.
There you go. Good call. Pins on parade.
Is your jaw all right? I thought you might have fractured it.
What was that, mate?
Is its jaw okay? I thought you might have fractured it.
Oh, well,
Alfie.
No second prizes.
Alfie.
This is how you win races. Put them on the speed.
Pins on Parade started favourite in the 1400 metre race, and it was put on speed.
With General Eisenhower. Then on the inside, Goondy. Down the centre is Oronero. Coming to the 400 metre mark now. Pins on Parade. Has kicked a length and a half. Reva San Barbarigus. Then move fast to Goondy. A mile back as Eldana, followed by his Sonic. Oronero to the outside. At the 200, Pins on Parade, a half in front. Reva San, the only threat, coming quickly. Pins on Parade, a half in front. Now starting to hold Reva San, followed by Barbarigus. Pins on Parade in front to the line. Pins on Parade. A half neck on the line to Reva San. 2 away.
Yes, he got straight to the front. Pins on Parade, and show him how it's. And Danny O'Brien having a good day at Flemington, the local trainer there. And Darren, a very strong effort there from the horse. You put him up there and he kept going. battle on well.
Yeah, he's a nice horse, a really good shouldered horse. They put the winkers on him, and he actually raced a little bit hot and cold. He was when the other horse put a bit of pressure on him at about the 1,000. He sort of got on the chewy a little bit, but he backed off nice, gave himself a chance, and we sprinted home quite nice.
Darren, do you think that's about as far as he wants to go, the 1,400 at the moment?
I reckon he'll get a mile.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll get a mile. He's a very, very laid-back, casual type horse, and just with the winkers on yesterday, just made him focus that little bit more.
I suppose that, like,
Unlike
he's had...
his first
Hang on one sec, Alf, one sec.
Sorry, mate.
He'd had the 2,000 metre runs and then a 1,200, and that was his first, so it's realistic to say that he can keep going?
Yeah, I think so, and he's a very, very relaxed horse, so I think that'll help him get the mile.
Alfie?
That's the pleasing thing to hear, what Darren just said. He's a relaxed type of horse, because he did race very, very keenly first up the other day, so it's pleasing. It'll go on.
Yeah, River Sam was good there, and look,
Yep.
Eldana on paper went common, but I thought it was a pretty good run for the longer races from Eldana.
Its run before was good too, the previous was very good.
And race 9 punters finished on a good day here with Master O'Reilly starting favourite in the 2,000 metre race.
Is Master O'Reilly, and he's running well. Cephalou got up on the inside of Del Vecchio. The fuzz can't get out, and here's Master O'Reilly from the back with Red Lord. He's coming down the outside. Master O'Reilly out wide, and Red Lord, they've hit the front with 150 to go. Master O'Reilly opening up now, the favourite. Away he goes. Master O'Reilly holding Red Lord at bay. Master O'Reilly wins well, about 2.5 in the run home to Red
And
Lord.
Vlad Jurek again there for Danny O'Brien. Good day for the pair of them. That swept down the outside with Red Lord. Alfie, by late in the day, the track was starting to even right out.
Well, Eskimo Queen earlier showed us that you could get out wide and do it. Vlad Jurek did exactly the same thing. That, in my opinion, was the best run of the day. I tell you what, this could be anything. This particular horse, he's going to get into a lot of races with no weight on his back at the highest level. And I tell you what, I think he's up to it, because the second horse, the Fuzz, I think they've got chances in nice handicap races going into the spring as well.
Do you reckon he's a Melbourne Cup or Michael?
It's hard to say. Lightly raced. He's had 14 or 15 starts. He's won up to 2,600 metres. Settles beautifully. He's got good acceleration. He's a beautiful action horse. Hard to say. I'm certainly not going to bag it.
What do you think, Ronnie?
I think he's a Melbourne Cup horse.
Do you?
What are you choking on your peanuts?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a flu, yeah.
Got a flu.
No wonder you've been barred from racecourses. One more cough and you're out of the studio.
Get back to the green zone, Ronnie.
Speaking of racecourses, Dale, you had biosecurity measures in place at Flemington yesterday. Even though it's brilliant to return to Flemington, you've done a fantastic job with the track. There's been so much improvement made there.
Certainly, Richard, it's a day that we've been looking forward to for the last 10 months, but it really goes back further than that when we were actually planning the reconstruction of Flemington nearly 5 years ago. The track was probably our first on the list, but we couldn't do it until we did a lot of other works around the place. So certainly it's a well-earned return for all of the staff to put in so much effort into making it all come together. But certainly biosecurity measures were in place yesterday. They followed on from Caulfield the previous Saturday. We weren't advised till at 4 o'clock on Friday what the actual things we had to do because they'd been refining them. So a lot of work occurred late Friday and of course Saturday morning. But I think it worked pretty well. We still had an area for the owners and the media particularly that they could get into the mounting yard and see the horses. But it's vital that when people come to the races, they want to be able to see the horses. And I think
Dale, we're just before we go, we're just seeing vision of the tie-up stalls and the walking areas. And, you know, I'm very familiar with the old timber tie-up stalls that have been there for 100 years, but this is a brilliant new facility, particularly for the horses and the people who look after them.
That's spectacular, though.
It certainly is. Well, I think, Richard, you'll remember Lee gave us a blast about 3 or 4 years ago. We're spending on money on other things, but not on the horses. Well, we took him up, and now you see what we've got here. It is no doubt the best in Australia, and it's sort of we've modelled it on other race courses around the world. But it's about not only safety with a tunnel into the mounting yard, but also the comfort of the horses, particularly on hot days where those old stalls, as you know, Richard, there was no ventilation whatsoever, whereas now each of those stalls is properly ventilated. So we're confident that it'll really ensure that not only the horses but the people who work in that area are able to do so in comfort going forward.
And Dale, what has been the response from trainers overall?
I think generally speaking, very, very happy with the facilities we've got. Look, there's a few gremlins in the system out of yesterday because of the biosecurity measures in terms of getting food and drink to strappers and so forth. But we'll make sure we work on that for the next meeting. Similarly with the trainers, providing them with some creature comforts, which
It was highlighted on the radio this morning, wasn't it? But nevertheless, look, at least you're aware of it, though. And look, as you say, you know, it's difficult conditions at the moment with all the constraints.
Absolutely. Look, 3 weeks ago we were sailing along and we were planning for the reopening in here, and there wouldn't have been an issue. But with all the other issues that arose because of it, we had to make compromises, and unfortunately we can't please everyone all of the time.
Sure.
Dale, do you think the biosecurity measures and the measures put in place to stop horses from entering Victoria from the northern states will have a big effect on your Spring Carnival and your Melbourne Cup? Have you heard anything from your overseas contenders?
Oh, well, it's pretty fundamental. The carnival will be impacted by the quality of horses we have run. Obviously, not having we're not having very many New South Wales-based horses at all to compete in the carnival will impact the fields, the quality and the sizes of the fields. But we're still hearing from Europe in particular that they're confident that they'll be able to bring their horses over here, and so that'll add a dimension which we're used to, have been since 1993, having international participation. But at the end of the day, the VRC is very much planning about the carnival going ahead. It's business as usual as far as we're concerned. We are fortunate in Victoria, and again, we all feel for all of the people in New South Wales and Queensland in particular. But we're planning on the carnival going ahead at the moment, and Victoria is free. Let's hope it stays free for until the carnival's over. But it's just something that's out of our hands. We're fortunate that Racing Victoria Limited and the Victorian government are doing as much as they possibly can. Again, our Premier announced yesterday an additional 28 border guards along the Murray to sort of again check on horses that might otherwise be trying to get across the border. So that'll hopefully assist in that regard.
One quick question: does the show worry you at all with animals being brought there so close?
Well, it did until they decided not to have horses.
Yeah, but other animals?
Well, it's an equine disease, but as you know, it can be transmitted by people or carried by people. But it would require people that are involved with a show that had been handling horses to come to the show. Now, somehow they'd have to be in contact with horses down here. So I'm not exactly sure that it's a concern, but obviously if there were horses and horse floats about, we'd be very concerned about that.
Well, Dale, congratulations on the renovation of the track. It's brilliant. It'll be a legacy for yourself and for Rod Fitzroy, the chairman of the VRC, and for Terry Watson, the track manager there. You should all be congratulated on getting this project in and on time and producing a fantastic track, the premier track in Australia. And thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Richard. I'd like to pay credit to Terry Watson in particular. This track is his track. His design from the bottom up is one that he's worked on for the last 5 years, and I think we're absolutely confident that it will provide even going across the track. The old days of having lanes shouldn't exist now because we don't have drains that are parallel to the running rail. They're longer. They're drains that run diagonally across the track, so no horse can get on a drain, and it can be better than the rest of the track. And the actual engineering of the soil types, I was explaining to Alf before, when you run on a beach, it's very soft and shifty, whereas the sands that we've actually used within the track are angular and they hold together a lot better. So whilst to walk on it might feel firm, it's still got a lot of give underneath it, and I think it'll be very kind to horses, particularly the Kikuyu grass, which went off many years ago, and we've brought back to Flemington now. We're confident that will also help provide a real good cushion for the horses galloping at Flemington.